Hello, my name is Barbara. Thank you for joining me today. And today's video is about how to start a project using Elixir on the GRiSP board. Do you guys hear me? Just in case, just to make sure I'm not talking to myself. Let me type something in chat. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, as I was saying, and today we will create a project with Elixir. The steps are very easy. The difference between creating a project with Airline or Elixir is that we don't have a River plugin for Elixir. So we do have to make additional steps, but we do have a mix plugin, and everything is on our GitHub. So if we go to mix GRiSP on GitHub, we could find a README to start a project. So basically today I will follow these instructions over here and then do a couple of tests with the board. So the first thing that we need to do is go to our shell and type the following. Just 1 second. Okay, so what we need to do is type mixed new, and in this case we will call this Twitch demo, and the module that we will create will be called Twitch demo as well, and that's it. This will create a couple of things for us. So if we do, if we go to our Twitch directory over here, this has been created a couple of files for us, and let's open those files over here in our editor. Okay, so we have our project dependencies, and the next thing that we need to do, if we follow this, is to add the dependency of GRiSP and as well the configuration for our deployment. So if we copy this, but instead of actually doing only dev, we could have, if we second. Okay, so if we add the dependencies of GRiSP and mix GRiSP, which is the repo that I was showing, but instead of doing this version, I could just do branch master, that will be okay, and I'm just adding the git over here. Another thing that we need to do is to configure how we want to deploy or the GRiSP deployment, and for that we could just copy and paste this in our definition of a project over here. Let me just move this around. And uncomment this, and what this is going to do is once we deployed our project, this is going to run a pre-script. We need to set up the destination and a post-script. The pre and post-script, the only things that we do here is just remove everything from our destination and then unmount our destination. And we can save this and check the documentation again. We could set this, we could set the wireless configuration, but I was having troubles before with the wireless, so I'm connecting to Ethernet, which means that it wouldn't work if I connect the board to the Wi-Fi. So I might skip this, but just to be sure, or the only thing that you guys will need to do is follow this structure. And there's also a video of Pierre doing this on airline that you could follow as well. That will be the second Twitch video. You can find it here or on YouTube, just in case. And this means that the next thing that we need to do is basically create our, just one second, our default for the release. So we can run this in our shell inside our folder. And, oh, wait, just one second. I did not, yes, I do need to get the dependencies. So let's get the dependencies and then run that. So once I get my dependencies, I could create the released default. And, oh, and my wait, did I just did max? Yes, okay, yes, perfect. So what this is going to do is creating this config over here for me. And then what we need to do is just to tweak this a bit to add the environment for GRiSP. So let's check again. Where do I need to copy and paste? So I could just copy this, go back and paste it over here. And then set up default. Oh, yes. What we need to do as well is set our default environment. So right now our default environment is mixenv. So we could change this to GRiSP and save this as well. And we also need to create a file, a config file. So inside our project, we can create a config folder with a config file, right? And the only thing that we need to add here is this line over here. and save it. And that's basically how you could set up your environment using Elixir with GRiSP. The only thing that we need to do now is just to deploy this and see what we are creating. Another thing that is nice to check before is that, let me see, right, okay, so right here we only added a default hello world, but we could add our application and everything that we need to do right here. So let me just plug my, I do have a micro SD card over here, and I could put it in the SD card slot. And this one is called GRiSP. So if we double check this, I call this, or I have the name of my volume over here is GRiSP. So if I just do a, let me see if I have a, no, let me just type it. GRiSP.deploy mix, GRiSP.deploy. We will start or generating the files for us to run in our board, which if I have it over here. So let's just wait a second. I'm sorry. Okay. I think you didn't saw the last line, but voila, we do have the deployment or our SD card ready to deploy. And what the only thing that we need to do is just to put it on our board. The reason that I'm not going to do that is, like I said, I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi right now on my computer because I was having problems with my Wi-Fi. So I do have two SD cards. One is the one that I just created the release with, and another one which is already in the board, and this one is already booted. So if you're not familiarized with this tool over here, this is just a serial shell, and you can connect this to GRiSP. You could choose, and you can see it right here. You will see two options to connect with, GRiSP1 and GRiSP2. You need to choose the port number 2 just in case, and then just click on or touch actually right here. There is a button that you might not be able to see because of the video, but right here there's a button to reset, and then the board will start booting everything and all the files that you included on your SD card. Oh, I just remembered something. Okay, okay, and then everything will start, and eventually your shell will appear. But I just remembered that I forgot a very huge detail on our configuration, and is the follow. If we do not go to dependencies GRiSP and then GRiSP again, GRiSP space and files, everything that it's inside files, are the files that we are going to pass through the SD card. And this is also where you set up the wireless connection files. But if you double check this right here for airline, with this configuration, what I'm going to have is an airline shell. But if we are creating a Elixir project, we don't need, or we don't want the Elixir shell on our GRiSP. We actually want our we don't want airline shell. We want Elixir shell, right? So to change that, we have this line. I'm not sure why I didn't saw it. Okay, so right here. I think, okay, yep, right here. So, I'm sorry about that. So this part, the part that I basically omit because of this, it is a very important part. This part is where we are setting up our Elixir shell on this line over here. So to do that, we just need to copy and paste this, or even the whole file if you want to, like starting on boot, and copy paste that over here. Now this looks a lot better, and if I okay, my SD card was on mount, so if I mount it again and run it again, and so if I just do mix GRiSP deploy again, this will give me the correct configuration, because I do need the Elixir shell. And that line, basically, it's giving us this interactive Elixir interface. And that's how you can start your project. Along with this, like I was saying, I will not include my just deploy SD card on my GRiSP board, because the boot loading time takes a while on Elixir, and we don't have enough time to just wait for it to be ready. So I do have another project right here, and this project looks like this. Let me just open this. So, do I have it here? No. Okay. Okay. So before I create this application, just a small disclaimer, I am not a Elixir developer, not quite, so I kind of learned it a little bit to do this switch, or to do this demo in a previous conference. So what we have here is just the example file that we created with the Mix plugin, but I added a application file for this and two other files. One is the blinker. We do have two LEDs on the board, as you may know. The one that you see right now, the green one, and there's another one over here. So it's LED 1 and 2. And so I created a blinker file for us to just play with it in the... Oh, I'm sorry, I just noticed the the chat. I'm not sure why the chat is not showing in the video. So I just noted the question, and I might be able to do it. So you can just type it, and I could just answer that if you want me to. So like I was saying, I did those two files for us to play with the Elixir shell. So this one, it's basically doing a toggle LED. And the way that we could use this is something like this. Let me just try to... 1 second. Okay. Where's our shell? Here it is. Okay. So this application is called GRiSP demo. So we could just type GRiSP demo dot, and this blinker or this module is called blinker. So we could just say GRiSP demo blinker. I'm very good with typos, just in case. And then we could set toggle, and this will take let's do a LED first, just in case. We could set LED. This will take two parameters. We need to say which LED do we need to toggle, and then the color, and I will choose aqua over here. And just so you can see it, we have the LED number 1 on now, and the color is aqua, or kind of like aqua. We could do LED number 2, because I don't like green very much, and say yellow. And now my LED number 2 is yellow. Another thing that we could do is turn off a LED. So with the same module, I do have a LED off function. So I could just say LED off. And this only takes one value, and it's the number of the LED that I want to turn off. So let's turn off the yellow one. And now it's turned off. Another thing that we could do is to start play with it is not actually play with Elixir functions, but you could also type our GRiSP like if I say, or actually if I say GRiSP let number one, I'm sorry, GRiSP dot of number one. This is basically playing with our Erlang functions, which you could find in the documentation. So what I just did was turning off let. And the way that you could do this is by just using the GRiSP module with the function of. And another thing that we could do is basically, let me just, I do have another function, I believe. Yes, I do have a toggle let. So we could just say GRiSP.blink toggle let toggle let number. Do I need to add a number? I shouldn't. Maybe I toggle. Am I typing something wrong? Let me copy paste. Just in case. But I think I did type it correctly. Okay, what does it say? Gen server call, blinker. Oh, okay. Do we don't have this? Okay. By the time that I make this release, I didn't add the children of my blinker for the gen server, so we don't have this available in my version of this application that we have right now. Oh my god. Okay. Yes. So I'm sorry. I thought that I just disconnected the board, but not. It's alive. So as I was saying, I didn't add the blinker on for my supervisor, so it's not supervising any blinker module. So I don't have this available, which is the only function that I don't have available for this demo, because that was the only one that needed we were using. We also have in our or in this application in our board, I also added a P mode. This is a nav P mode, which means that we have, or we could do three kinds of measure. We do have a accelerometer, a magnetometer, and altimeter. With the accelerometer, I think I'm saying this wrong. But with that one, we could do two kinds of reads. We have a g-forces and for x, y, and z axis. And we also have a read with the gyro x, x, y, and z axis in degrees per second. So we could play with this, and the first thing that you need to do when you are playing with the P mode is to actually add the device. So I added a function inside my P mode nav that it says, or it's called add device. This will not take any parameter because it's the only P mode nav that I added, and because it's on my SPI one, which is this one, and I'm already adding these parameters in my function on the application. So the only thing that I need to do is just call this function or execute this function, and this will return me the PID for this and the reference. So it is now connected, and now I could ask, who am I, just in case. And I could say the following. I could say GRiSP demo. Okay, serial. I could say GRiSP demo dot pmode nav read, and this will take, oh, I'm sorry, a parameter that it's called who am I. So this is the function that we have, and I will going to show you. Let me just read GRiSP demo read. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I don't have a read. I have a read ACC. And this is returning me the following. So we are using PMONav, and on this PMONav we have first the configuration. We have a read function or two read functions, and those read like read to, which is the one that I'm using right now, which is, if you see, okay, this one. Is it this one? Yes, this one. So this one, it's getting the option, and I'm already using the ACC over here because it's my read ACC, and I am passing who am I, and who am I, it's giving me a response. I'm sorry. So it's giving me a response that it is working. So now I could do a measurement. And the way that I do a measurement is this. So let's get this again. I will be using the same function because I will do a accelerometer. Accelerometer. Okay, I'll stop trying to get it right. And okay, so as I was trying to say, I will do a measurement for us to get the g-forces. And what do we need to include here in the function is I need to I would like to get the out measurement of X and the, okay, just 1 second, I forgot this. And then, oops, and then the out for Y, and finally the out for Z. Just let me double check that everything is fine, and okay. I was doing that, let me just try to, okay, so you can actually see this. So I was doing that in this way, so let's try to get the same measurements like this. We can see how the value changes. So before we had X negative, but now we have Z negative. And the same if I do it like this. I mean, we will have a different reading if I do it like this. So now we have X and Z negative. And if we do it like this, like facing me, we have J and Y, Y and Z negative. We will get also different measurements if I start shaking this, because this is an accelerometer. We had closest value closest to 0 because it was not moving. So now that I move this, we can get different values. Another thing that we could do with the same function is to read on degrees per second, and the way that we could do that is just adding different function values over here. So let me get rid of this, and we could say, I'm wondering, no, okay, yeah. Out X, oh, I'm forgetting again. Out X, G, and then I want to get out Y, G, and then C, G, and again. So if I do it like this, I'm getting different measurements. Along if I do it like this or like this. And this is how you could play with g-forces or degrees per second in the case that you need to. This PMO also has a magnetometer and a altimeter. Magnetometer is for okay, it will give you the value on Gauss, just in case. And the way that you could read this or actually play with it is instead of, let me just get rid of this, instead of using the read ACC, we could use the read mag. And the properties that we add here is that we need to, or we like to know the out. Oops. Okay. The out XM and then the out ym, and lastly the out zm. And again, let me just try to play with this and move it. So like I was saying, these values over here are in Gauss. That's the unit. And we could also do an altimeter. The altimeter will give us the pressure or the temperature, depends of the properties that you, or the parameters that you include in the function. We also have a function over here which is read alt, and read alt will look like this. Oops. So to read the pressure will be something like press out. And let me see. Yes. Okay. Yes. It doesn't change much, but it's obviously expected because we're reading the pressure. And then we also have the temperature. So and looks that it's in, I believe it's in Celsius degrees. It might be. Might that hot right now? I could double check the unit for this one. Okay. Yeah, it might look like it. I'm based in Costa Rica, and it is not sunny right now, but it's very humid and it's starting to rain. So it might be right. And or even maybe that's the temperature that it's in this room actually. So I'm very positive that it's in Celsius. Any questions so far of what I've been doing? I haven't got the chance to see the chat because it didn't work for me. So silly me. But any questions so far? Okay, well, I will assume that there isn't. Well, like I said, it's very easy to just start playing with something, and then you could actually think of an application that you want to build. But it is not. It is definitely not complex to just get started with. If you do have any question on the setup or our, let me just move this, or our documentation, you could ping us on our, well, we have multiple channels, but you could ping us on Slack or Twitter, and well, we will gladly review your questions. That's basically all that I had for today. So 10 minutes. I'm ending this 10 minutes before, which I will try to keep it up next time and prepare something that take us longer if you want me to. And again, if you have any questions, well, let us know. It was really nice having you today, and this is my first time, so I was really nervous, but I think it was well, pretty okay, even though I did had some not problems but mistakes. So I did commit a couple of mistakes over here, but I guess, yeah, well, you're welcome. And yeah, we will continue with the Elixir examples, I will assume, because, well, it is in our interest to keep up with Elixir and Airline as well. So yeah, well, that will be it for today, and thank you for joining. So, bye-bye.